Shield comes out this November with quite a bit of controversy, and I thought it would be fun if me and my friend discussed our thoughts and predictions. So why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm just Luck all around on the Discord. You might have seen me in streams or whatever, but friends call me Lucky.
Well, welcome to our discussion, Lucky.
Yeah, we got to talk about Pokemon, don't we?
Yep, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, the gameplay, and then our overall predictions and thoughts on the matter. So I guess let's get this started with the national decks. What do you think?
Oh God.
Ooh.
Uh, Look, it looks bad because what we know so far is just the regular Pokemon we've been shown of the new region, and then a select few that have been spotted in the game. And there's not that much of the old stuff.
Yeah, and it's just not looking good with Game Freak also developing their game Town. So like it's kind of feeling like they're using most of their staff to focus on Town than Pokemon.
I mean, look at this. We have Sock. Who uses a sock?
Yeah, and we all know they're probably going to use the original 151 Pokemon. I mean, that's
I mean,
kind of obvious. Hmm?
we don't know this. We've only seen Charizard. We haven't seen Squirtle or
Oh,
Bulbasaur.
but they gotta be in there. Like, come on. Like,
They
looking.
may not be there.
That's that'd be disappointing if they don't have the original 151. But it's still disappointing they don't have all Pokemon. And
Yeah, well, it's because of the Dynamax. They can't do all of that. That'd be too much time.
but that's the whole point of Dynamaxing. I thought because Dynamax was just they ease up on the developers because all you're doing is oversizing models. You're not making a whole different new kind of designs for the Pokemon like Mega Evolutions.
Yeah, but you have to do that for every single one. There is 820 and a lot more to come.
But let me just scale up the model. Whoop. It's not that hard. I mean, literally, they could just. I wouldn't mind if they ripped the 3DS models and put them in the game if we had all the Pokemon.
Well, I mean, I guess the main issue would be transferring, and I think that's why they did it.
Yeah, that was. They did. I don't know if you knew this, but they did announce it in the Treehouse where they had no national decks, and that was one of the key points I believe was the whole transferring is just would be a problem.
Yeah, because you were able to transfer Gen 3, like the original, into the TS for Gen 4, then you could do that into 6 and 7, and then from Let's Go and onwards. But it would be hard for this new kind of generation and new models and the new system to get everything.
Yeah, and
So I understand why they did that.
I understand, but I also don't at the same time because I believe one of their key points too was they wanted to update all the moves and the animations for the moves, but as we've seen, they're still little hopping. They hop and maybe like a little animation, a punch or a fist pops up. They haven't even touched the animations really, and it's just
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like it's
guess
disappointed.
well, I mean, if they, let's say that, I guess to, for a counterpoint for what would be better if there wasn't that much, is if they just updated, let's say, the fighting mechanics. So let's say I use Mach Punch, the Pokemon actually goes all the way up there. I guess it would make more sense for why they wouldn't include all of them. But it's weird.
Yeah,
There's
like
you can see the good and bad from it.
Like I would get it if they actually animated, like the Pokemon Coliseum, if they actually had the Pokemon, or like they actually move their arms or something cool like that. I would understand. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't have all the Pokemon in the game if you had to do that. But they're still doing the classic little hops and stuff. I mean, I guess they're
I
gonna have
mean, it'll
the.
get better later.
I mean, they could add updates to the game where they add more Pokemon, and I could totally see Nintendo doing that. But I guess they are just ripping the band-aid off early because I know some point in time they're gonna have to do this because sooner or later we're gonna have over 2,000 Pokemon or some odd, and then we're definitely not gonna be able to have all of them in one game.
I mean, I guess the main reason why people don't like it is considering this is legitimately the first game where you cannot catch them all.
Oh yeah, and it makes no sense because it's one of the first mainline games that's on a console, and it kind of like the complete opposite of what you're thinking. If it's on a console, you could add more, have all the Pokemon plus animations, and it just makes no sense.
Well, we don't know. There could be an absolutely good reason for this of the game has a lot more than we think, but we just have to kind of speculate for now.
Yeah, because from what we know, it's just like from what we've seen, we've only seen a couple battles, and we haven't seen more than we probably haven't even seen 10% of the moves they've shown, and maybe most of the moves have special animations or something like that. It's all yeah, you're right. It's all just speculation. But
So,
one thing that isn't speculation that we do have concrete proof of is the game. It just doesn't look polished at all. Like
oh, the
the
textures.
textures, looking at the textures, like oh my god.
The fact. No,
One
go on.
uh,
Finish your thought.
one key thing like a lot of people are pointing out is the trees in the game. Like they look like N64 trees, and it's sad.
The Ocarina of Time trees look better.
I know. And then um one thing we discussed beforehand, but one thing I didn't point out is the draw distance, or what do you call it? When you like walking toward players and Pokemon just pop up right in front of you. And it's a major setback from Breath of the Wild, which was able to handle like really good draw distances and stuff like that. Field of like view.
Well, I guess it's just loading things that's really killing it.
Yeah, it is, but I don't understand if Breath of the Wild was able to handle it so well. Why wouldn't Pokemon? Like in the direct, there was multiple instances of Pokemon and like NPCs and like even the raid battle Pokemon, the Gyarados in the direct, or not the direct, the Treehouse Live presentation. It just randomly popped in and popped out. And I do get it is a tech demo, or not technically a tech demo, but it's worrying.
Well, how I see it is Breath of the Wild is like an open world, everything is open. When it comes to Pokemon, let's say you go into a battle, you have to load in the battle sequence, you have to load in the area, you have to load in all these things because it's not truly an open world to these battlings and let's say the Dynamax thing. So I could see why it wouldn't look as polished because again, Breath of the Wild is completely open. Everything is loaded, if not loading to where you're going. Well, when it comes to Pokemon and the battling, you have to load in these situations.
That is true. Like Pokemon is an RPG, and that does have a lot of like loading of assets and stuff like that. And I understand where you're coming from.
Because if you look at like any, let's take, this is not Nintendo, but let's take a Final Fantasy game. Open world looks awful, but the battles themselves look great because those are already loaded, while the open world isn't as loaded as you would want it to be.
Yeah, and these are all just nitpicks of the wild era because I believe that's all we've seen. We haven't really seen Pokemon in any of the towns or anything right now. I don't believe, except in like a little bit of trailers, but those can be manipulated to just look the best.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a little. How I get it, it's just a little bit worrying because they're definitely not going to delay it, and I don't.
Well,
And yeah, sorry,
they
continue.
still have time to no, they still have time to polish it. So again, this is just little worries for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess that's about it with the
Uh,
bad. I mean, we can move on to the gameplay and what we've seen so
yes,
far and what we think. So I guess
Dynamaxing.
yeah, Dynamaxing. I have a question about Dynamaxing. It was already confirmed that you're only allowed to have one Pokemon could Dynamax during a raid battle, or what do they call it, max raid battles now. So if you're an online, you're not able to discuss or talk with any of the kind of your other players. So could someone just be a complete troll and Dynamax like a level 1 Pidgey?
No, let's just Dynamax a Bidoof. I will take on this Gyarados with my Bidoof.
Yeah, but like that's the thing though. If you're like against a Gyarados, right, and you have a fire type and then 3 grass types, and you Dynamax your fire type when the grass types would have worked way better. Like I don't know how they're
Like,
gonna
we'll
remedy
see.
that.
How I see it is if it's, let's say this is online, but it's only friends. Now I can see why anyone could Dynamax at any moment because you're with friends, you're probably in a call, you're near each other, whatever. So it would be understandable. But if it is pure, like online, this is a problem.
Yeah, and one way I think they could kind of fix this is like once someone wants to Dynamax, all like you have to have a majority vote, and like all the trainers have to say, "Oh yeah, go for it," or something like that.
Yeah, that's probably, if it is like pure online, that's probably what they're gonna have as a voting system.
Yeah. And with the whole friends thing with the wild areas, I took it as what this is what I hope is like the minute you enter a wild area, it asks you if you want to connect to online, and then the minute you connect to online, it's kind of like an MMO, I guess, where the minute you're in the wild area, you just see three other players or whatever. I
I
don't.
mean, the wild area could be anything. Do we even know if we can like battle other players in this multiplayer mode?
That would be cool, but I don't think we have any confirmation of that. That would be cool if it is like if you're with random other people, just meet up with them in the wild area and be like, oh yeah, let's just have a battle.
See, but the downside to that is if you gain XP, because then you can easily farm.
Oh yeah, and like especially in the beginning kind of wild area because we've seen the map and the first town slash city or where the first gym leader is way above where you start. And
Yeah, so like let's say I'm just playing. I got my good friend. He has a level 100 Chansey. I have just a Bidoof. I kill that Chansey. Bam, level 50 at the first gym leader.
yeah, I can see that being a problem. I think how the story is going to progress with the wild area is there is a train station connecting your hometown with the first city, and I think you're gonna have to go through the wild area on foot, unlock a train, and then go back to your town. So I think maybe that
Oh,
first initial like wild area exploration is only gonna be single player until like you unlock it or whatever.
I mean that would make sense. Just so you could get a feel for it before you're thrown into online.
Mm-hmm. And as we've seen in the Treehouse Live, I this is just a personal thing I really love. When you're on the wild area, there's little emotes on the left hand side of the screen that tell you like, oh, blah 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 caught a Pokemon or blah 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 found some berries or stuff like that. And I think that's kind of cool because it connects everyone in a way, even if you're not on a call.
Yeah, but again, the downside to this wild area is like, let's say because for everyone, I just want to take every item. These are mine. No one gets it. That would be really bad as the
That
multiplayer standpoint.
that is true because like berry trees, I bet you they're not infinitely shakeable. I mean, someone can easily just farm them all, and then you have to wait till they all grow back or reset.
A lot of questions for now, but good ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know much about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think
Uh,
that's a little bit on the wild area. We could talk about the gyms and stadiums. What do you think about them right now? Because they're kind of a little bit different than what we normally have, but they're similar in a
well,
way.
the only thing we've seen is just the gym leader themselves. We haven't, like in other games, we don't have the little trainers beforehand. We don't see that. And I don't really know. It's, to me it just seems like you're there to fight this one person. You can Dynamax, cool, got it, leave, like any other gym, but without the pre stuff.
Yeah, like we haven't seen any trainers, or actually, we might have. We actually saw trainers in the E3 show floor demo. We you had to fight trainers, then you had to fight Nessa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but those seem like placement trainers because we saw a whole bunch of new Pokemon with them, and then half of them didn't even have water type Pokemon. They were all just like, oh, you could just fight these people. I think they were just placements, to be honest.
I mean, if anything, those would just be people like, oh, I also want to fight this gym. How about we train? And if I am able to beat you, I could take on the gym leader. But because you beat them, they just, I don't know, you're the only one that can.
Mm-hmm. And like this has been like brought
Just
up in a couple like leaks. I'm not like confirming any leaks or anything, but kind of like a pre-show where once you're able to fight the gym leader, since it's kind of live broadcasted, it makes sense that's going to be like some sort of pre-show before you fight the main event or the gym. So maybe going through a sort of challenge before to kind of tie in the show kind of style of the new gym stadium mechanics.
and I guess that would make up for like not having the pre-trainers beforehand. That would make up for it.
Having a sort of challenge beforehand before you fight the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I am wondering is, you're probably not, but you think you'll be able, or you think you're going to be forced to Dynamax? Because it seems like you might have to be forced to Dynamax at just a fighting standpoint. If he Dynamaxes their Pokemon, then you're gonna have to Dynamax yours. But theoretically, could you go through the game without Dynamaxing your Pokemon?
I mean, I could see it being optional considering that if you just look at the Dynamax raid battles, you don't only one can do it. So there is instances where a regular Pokemon can fight a Dynamax Pokemon. So I guess it would be optional.
Yeah, but like
That's how I would see it.
it seems like a main thing though in the stadiums. Like without Dynamaxing, it's just a gym battle, and I guess that's a lot of stuff like with a lot of Pokemon gimmicks. But Dynamaxing seems more a key element in the gym battles, where like the crowd cheers if your Pokemon is Dynamaxed, and I wonder if there's like a certain element if you don't Dynamax your Pokemon.
The crowd would probably be upset
Yeah, like that would be kind
or
of
really
funny.
happy. Or really happy the fact that you could do it without Dynamaxing. It could go either way with the crowd.
Yeah, like kind of like an underdog story, I guess, in a way.
Ooh, that also poses the question is if in these gym battles, are we there to beat the gym leader or there to please the crowd?
That is true. Like if the gym leader is on like a point where they kept losing and losing and losing, the crowd is just going to get bored.
Yeah, go on. They keep losing. Yep, the gym leader keeps losing.
Yeah, and the crowd's just going to get bored, and I could see maybe an aspect where you have to keep the crowd pleased to then go into other gym leaders, because they probably, it seems like an event where you have to book the event ahead of time instead of waltzing right in. Oh, let me fight you. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a mechanic where you have to a part of the story, you have to book the gym leader event before you actually fight.
That, yeah, that would make sense. I'm also just now realizing that we were teased this in Let's Go because of the people on the sides of the gym that could watch for battle. We were
Oh,
teased this previously, and no one picked this up.
yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, it is kind of more of it's a spectacle of anything. I mean, to watch like an
Let's watch if
underdog
this kid
trainer.
succeeds or fails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so see. Okay, so then let's go to the new Pokemon we've seen.
Yeah, we've seen the ones that got confirmed in like the directs we've seen was Corviknight, Dreadnought, Glossopore, Eldegoss, and Wooloo. But some new Pokemon that appeared up in the E3 demo was a Corgi and a Corgi type Pokemon and Impidimp.
I don't know how I feel about Impidimp.
Impidimp is a dark
It's
fairy, I
just
believe.
yeah, it is, but it's just such a weird one. Dark Fairy, and it's just a small monkey.
I have to say it has to have an evolution because the pre-evolution just looks ugly.
It does, but we don't know what its stats are. If it has decent stats, then it might just be its own little thing, just roaming the lands.
Yeah, and then like what kind of Pokemon could that evolve into? I could see it kind of being a vampire, maybe. I don't know.
I need an image of this. Give me a second.
And then
Because
there's
I
also
forget
the
that
Corgi Pokemon. I forgot its name, but the Corgi Pokemon
isn't
looks
it
so cute.
electric type?
It is an electric type. I think. Yeah, it must be. I think it is an electric type.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Corgi Pokemon I think looks great. The Impidimp looks pretty ugly. They both. I They both are definitely going to have evolutions. I think Impidimp might have a 3-stage evolution, and the Corgi Pokemon is only going to have a 2-stage. Because I think it's going to
I
be
mean,
it's going to
they
be more
could
like
just both be standalones for all we know.
yeah, I mean the Corgi Pokemon could just be a standalone one. I really hope Impidimp is not a single evolution or just a single like, base. Yeah, and then another thing I want to point out is a Corviknight. Um, a lot of people have pointed this out, but you say it one more time.
I was gone for a minute.
Oh, but Corviknight is like pure black and is like a lot of the generic flight birds when you use fly in like an X and Y or Sun and Moon, or I don't think Sun and Moon, but one of the earlier kind of 3D games. It was always, I think it was even in black and white. It was always just a black bird, and I think that's way too coincidental to be on accident. Like that had to be on purpose because its main gimmick is like it flies. It's made for transportation.
The only problem I have with Corviknight is that it's not a dark type, but it looks like it really is a dark type
It's not a dark
because it's
type.
only flying. No, it's flying steel.
Oh, that's right. A lot of the flying type Pokemons kind of have that thing because, like a Charizard, I think he's not a flying dragon; he's just flying fire, and that's kind of the problem with flying. Is flying is kind of not generic in a way, but like you can't have three types, and it just kind of messes everything up for flying types.
Yeah, but then there are some exceptions like Flygon, which is ground dragon.
Oh yeah, he isn't even
This is
considered flying type.
even though it's in the name Flygon.
Yeah, like Pokemon's weird sometimes. I could totally see the next gimmick being triple typing. Like that would be cool.
Ooh. Yeah, but that could cause some issues with like resistances, weaknesses,
Ooh, yeah,
effectiveness.
that's true. Uh,
Everything would be weird.
Speaking of typing, I'm gonna go like right into the predictions and say Score Bunny. His final evolution is gonna be a fire electric. A lot of people,
What's your reasoning?
because he seems to be like a lot. He's what we've seen from the advertisements. He's always running, and running kind of equates to electric or speed or something like that. And yeah, speed always equates to electric, and it kind of just makes sense to have a fire and electric type because another firefighting would just be disappointing.
It's not going to be firefighting. They've had two good streaks of a fire psychic and a fire dark, and it can't be fighting.
Yeah, isn't it gonna be like the fourth firefighting
But
starter?
no, it was. Let's see, we had Blaziken. No, it would be fourth because it was Blaziken, Primeape, and then what was Embor? It would be the fourth
Oh, yeah.
if it does.
I'm pretty sure it'd be a really cool design too, like a fire electric, the like orange and yellow that kind of just plays into each other, and it would look great. But
But that's all we can really hope for.
yeah, but that also means like what is it? Sobble, I'm pretty sure is going to be a ghost type, a water ghost type, because we already know he has the mechanic of or not the mechanic, the feature of turning invisible.
Ooh.
Yeah, so a water ghost type would look nice also. But the one thing
Yeah,
that's
but
stopping me is what was his name? Grookey. I don't know what typing he might be.
for all we know, that's going to be grass fighting.
That would actually be really cool, like a buff gorilla.
Yeah, the downside to that is we already had a grass fighting starter, and he did not end well.
Which one was that?
Chespin,
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
Chestnut. Everyone forgets about Chestnut.
I know. I was trying to think. Totally forgot about him.
That's how
I'm.
forgettable and bad that starter is.
Hmm, they could probably redeem it. I could totally see a fighting gorilla. Like everyone, I bet you his final evolution is gonna have drums too in some way. He reminds me of like a Donkey Kong in a way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's starters. Let's go with legendaries. You think they're both gonna be steel?
Oh, they're already hard enough to decide because they're just both so generic. Like they both look exactly the same, except one has a shield and one has a sword. One is just they're both so generic it's hard to decide. And if they're both steel, it'd be just disappointing also.
Out of all the legendaries, this is the most disappointing for the two main ones.
Yeah, and especially on a big home console game. I like their designs, but it's just they're both too similar. One's a dog. Oh wait, the other one's a dog with a sword.
No, it's in his mouth, so he's more dangerous.
Oh no. And this begs the question, is the sword like a part of the Pokemon or is it just an item
It,
he picked up?
I feel like it has to be a part of him, and that's what really bothers me is that it's a part of him.
Yeah, and that kind of like I mean, we've already had questions like Mr. Mime and his clothes or something like that, sock and his black belt. Like
That also begs the question: is what's Zamazenta, is his shield a part of his body, or is it just a shield?
Zamazenta seems more it is a part of his body, like the shield is his main.
Uh,
But like the sword though. He's just picked up a sword with his mouth.
it's just chilling in his mouth. What you got to bash him for it?
It's literally a Growlithe with a sword.
Hey, it's just a Dark Souls ripoff.
A Dark Souls ripoff. Yeah. But
Ugh.
I really hope they have a third legendary to kind of spice things up. Maybe because there's already been like a little tease with that third legendary with the cinematic kind of trailer we've got with both of those, and they both look up.
Well, we have sword and shield. It's only natural if the third one has a gun.
I don't think there'd be a gun. I think it'd be a cannon.
That's still a gun,
It is gonna
technically.
be a type of like, yeah, a type of gun. It would be really cool if it's a cannon. But I do have like a prediction on what it might be because Za Magenta is like magenta, and then there's Zacian, and that's cyan. So I don't know. I think if you put that like on a color wheel, I think yellow kind of plays the best color. So like Za Mellow or Za Yellow or something like that.
I think Zamela would be better.
Now, yeah, not Za Yellow, but like Za Mellow sounds interesting. I don't equate that with a gun either.
Well, I mean, this is all set in what is it, Europe, and the Europeans were known for taking over the world. So it would only make sense that it would be a cannon of like a gun of some sort for a cannon.
I could totally imagine like a dog with a cannon strapped to his back.
I mean, we have a dog with a sword in his mouth and a shield for a mane, so it would only make sense for a cannon on his back.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. All right. So I feel like we should talk about Hop and slash our rival.
Oh, that would work well with the champion too, wouldn't it? Because they're siblings now.
Yeah, and I feel like that's finally gonna add depth to our rival. It's not just gonna be like, oh, now let's go on an adventure together. Oh, I lost against you. I'm so nice, and I
Well,
really,
let's go through the rivals. We had Blue, who was just arrogant and knew that he was better than you.
yeah,
We had Silver, who only he was just a jerk to be a jerk because he wanted power. Then we had May, Brendan, and Wally, who were all friends with each other. Barry was kind of a wild card, so I wouldn't really consider him a friendly rival.
mm-hmm.
Then, of course, we have Black and White, which was Sharon, Bianca, and technically N.
And I think that's
Uh,
when we started getting the nicer rivals.
yes and no, because Sharon was still kind of the always on defensive kind of mean person.
But he had that aspect where he was still nice. I mean, I guess he kind of is like Blue, but like
Yeah,
once you
it's just nice blue.
Mm-hmm. But once you get to X and Y, you basically had wasn't it 5 rivals or 3 rivals? They all were just
I
complete nice. They were just
what was it? It was Serena, Tierno, that the other two, so there was four.
there's 4, and yeah, it says something when you don't even remember their names.
And then for Alola, we had How and Gladian.
Yeah, Gladian was the edgy teen that tried to be mean, but he just didn't get even, or tried to be basically a blue, but just didn't get enough screen time personally.
I mean, technically in Ultra, I would say his character got better, and it made sense for him to be nice over the course of the game.
Yeah, but only playing I only played Sun and Moon, and I haven't actually played Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon at all. But
I would highly recommend it because it makes the other two look terrible.
yeah, I probably should before Pokemon Sword and Shield comes out. Yeah, but
So yeah, so back to Hop.
yeah, I honestly think like wouldn't it be cool? This kind of ties in with our next topic, but Leon, what if he was a fake and then Hop finds out and then kind of turns evil?
You mean like his world has just shattered knowing that his brother has been the fake champion the entire time?
Yeah, and then like it that would be really interesting. Or I have seen a lot of people point out that what if Leon is just like the leader of the bad organization?
You know, that would make sense for him being champion.
I really hope not, though. I mean, because
It would give a better story.
it would, but that's such a cliche too. I mean, oh no, the guy everyone looks up to that's really famous is actually bad.
Look, this is a kid's game. What are you gonna do with it?
I know, but uh
At the
Leon
heart of it, Pokemon is a kid's game.
Leon I really hope isn't bad. He just seems so cool and so much like a father figure almost. But I bet you it's gonna be like, oh yeah, we love you, Leon. Oh wait, you are bad.
Or he's just actually really nice, and we have to. I'm gonna feel bad beating Hop because I'm gonna crush his dreams of
I
wanting to be like his brother.
I know, and like I feel like that's honestly kind of what they're going for. But then I still don't want him to be nice though. I still want him to be kind of arrogant and pushy. But
Wait, does
hmm?
we have to crush his dreams? Wouldn't that make us the rival? Wouldn't that make us the rival, and we're the ones being mean to Hop?
That's an interesting concept. Oh, that is really interesting.
Because it would be just like the Wally situation. You don't want to beat him, but you kinda have to
Yeah.
progress.
Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting.
Ugh, that's that's sad to think about.
Oh yeah, and then you're gonna have like a whole story arc where it's just you and him, and he's like, oh yeah, I know, I'm not gonna get far because of you or something like that.
Don't do this.
Because
That
like
would be bad.
in past games, like Blue, he made it to team or the he beat the Elite Four, but you never really got to see that. It's just oh, Blue, you're the champion. I did not know that, and yeah, you kind of did beat him.
I mean, I guess maybe I mean that's the same way with How is you fight him. Oh, he's champion. You gotta beat him now.
Yeah. What would be cool if they kind of like back that up and have like Leon kind of stage hop to where he is now the champion, and then that gives you motive to actually beat him and not have any regret.
Or it's the situation where you have to beat Hop and then, oh, just kidding. Leon is still champion and you have to beat him. So it's like a back-to-back battle
Ooh,
with no healing. You just
yeah,
have to continue.
that would be cool. That'd be like a really tough battle.
It
I
would, because half your team would be dead from fighting Hop, and you're just thrown into another battle.
mm-hmm. It'd be like the pre-show of like the show if the champions ever like streamed or whatever, like they've shown.
Ooh,
Ooh, that would be
that would be a
cool.
good pre-show.
Yeah, pre-show like, oh yeah, you're fighting the champion. Oh wait, just kidding.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That would be good story.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the story, like, who do you think the bad organization's gonna be? Do you think they might bring back Team Rocket?
Well, what would the name even be called?
That's
We've
also
had
the thing.
because let's see, we've had Rocket, Rocket again, Magma, Aqua, Galactic,
Mm-hmm.
Plasma, Neoplasma, Flare, and then Skull.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
could be anything.
Are they? They're kind of going for not an ancient Egyptian. Like this is placed in. No, what country is this placed in again?
Europe.
Europe.
This is just a Europe,
And we've already
anywhere in
seen
Europe,
like
but
hieroglyphics and.
not France.
Hmm?
It's not France.
Yeah.
It's not France. It's just everywhere in Europe but France.
Yeah, we've already seen hieroglyphics and stuff too of that weird bird thing in the trailers, and I wonder if that plays a key part into the story. Most likely.
That could be on the third legendary.
That's true. Like it'd be cool to have like two wolves and having a bird. Like maybe like a tie into the legendary birds, a combination of the three or something.
Oh yay, more birds! Like we needed more legendary birds.
Yep. Speaking of
Ugh.
legendaries, how many legendaries do you think are going to be in the game? Because we already know they're
Well,
limiting half, almost. We assume half of the national decks, or just completely taking it out.
I don't know, because there I'm going to base it off previous generations, and seven had decent amount on its own. Then again, you could argue that there was only three legendaries and a ultra beast are in a different category. But then six was the wild card where we only had three and nothing else. So I don't really know if it's going to be just three or possibly more. I would hope there's more, but I'm going to assume it's only three.
Yeah, I thought in Pokemon Sun and Moon, when you were going through like your warp dimension portals, I forgot what they're called, you could catch legendaries in some of them.
No, you could catch every single catchable legendary except Deoxys, but that's I would say those are just past legendaries. I'm saying specifically for the generation itself. What new things it brought.
Yeah, I was talking about past legendaries, like how many legendaries would be present, because we do know they're limited. Like legendaries and mythical Pokemon are not a staple, but they've been in most of the games, and especially like in
Ooh,
Black and White, I believe they tied in a whole bunch of new mythical. Oh yeah, and how many mythical Pokemon do you think we'll get?
I hope we don't get very many because mythical Pokemon on their own are already hard to get.
Yeah, we like in
Because I believe you currently are what was it? I believe in what was it 2016 there was a whole thing for getting all the mythicals, and if you didn't do it, you didn't get the mythicals. So they're
yeah,
incredibly hard to get nowadays.
yep. Like in Black and White, we got the whole Keldeo line with I forgot their names exactly, but I believe those are all mythical. So those four myth.
No, no, Virizion, Terrakion, and Cobalion were in black too, and those are catchable. Keldeo was the only mythical.
Oh, so they were just considered like beast Pokemon kind of, not ultra beast, but
Uh, no, they were actually legendary because Black
Ah,
2 needed to add some new things, and even though they already put Landorus, Tornadus, and Thundurus back, they still needed a new set of three.
yeah. Do you think we'll get a new like just going on that like set of three, because we got fire, water, and electric. Do you think we'll have another like for the Gen 1 for the legendary birds? Do you think we'll have like another
Mm-hmm.
set of three? What would be cool if
I mean, how they usually do it is, or at least in the older games, it was always here is the main three, here's like the subset of three, and maybe some others. And that was it. I would hope there's another subsection, but I doubt there will be.
what I think would be really interesting to not have an exact subset of three, but like introduce more Reggie Pokemon like Regigigas, or like how we have Regigigas, Registeel, and then
Regice, Regirock.
yeah. What would be cool if they add more like that? Because I've seen a lot of cool concept art for different types of Reggies.
Ooh, I
That'd
don't
be
know. I don't know how I
interesting.
feel about that. The Reggie Trio on their own is already pretty cool.
Yeah, they might. I mean, it would be cool if they turned into like the new Eevee and having an each um, type for
Ooh,
yeah.
that would be pretty good.
Speaking of the new Eevee, isn't it about time we get a new evolution?
Um, I would think so.
And like what
But
we
what?
still need a rock type, I believe. And
Oh, if they do rock, I feel like they would just do rock and ground to get it out of the way. I feel like it would be a dual type.
it'd be a dual type.
if there was going to be an evolution of rock and ground, I feel like it'd be the two together.
Yeah. That's because
But
I
then we're
believe
all
how they did that was like
uh,
every other generation, wasn't it?
uh well, I yeah, because it was the Eevees in the first, then they had Umbra and Espeon skip, then it was Glaceon and Leafeon, then they skipped, and then it was Sylveon. Then
Hmm.
they skipped the last generation, so we should get a new one this time.
Yeah. Yeah. And theoretically, we should get one more Pokemon Direct, so that'd be something they'd probably show in there.
I mean, they probably will to keep the hype going.
Yeah. And then maybe to address some, because I know a lot of fans are, there's a big uproar, like protests against the game to like not buy it and stuff like that.
I
They
don't get why. Is it just the national decks? Because that's easy. I just want to play this game. I don't care for the others.
Yeah, but I guess there's like I guess we're kind of casual players, not really casual, but we're
Yeah, I
not
get it. Yeah.
we're not pro competitive players for Pokemon, and that eliminates almost half of the competitive play if you don't have a national dex.
Yeah.
And
The only time I like ever get serious or quote unquote serious in a Pokemon game is if I want to catch every single legendary and that's it. Any other time, I can catch this here and there and it's just fun to me that way.
yeah, and I guess I kind of understand where they're coming from because what I usually do is I catch all Pokemon that is in the regional dex, not the national dex, because the national dex is all 800 and whatever, and that's way too hard. Because half of the time you can't catch all the Pokemon in the region anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what they're doing. It's just I don't know. Not a lot of people are liking it, and it is kind of a step down, even though they're in their console and the platform it's on is a step up.
Well, again, like you said previously, they could just add updates to the game and that would fix some problems.
Yeah, Nintendo's been very update heavy. Like Splatoon has a lot of updates. Or they're actually just stopping updates pretty soon with the final Splatfest. But yeah, I
And
could.
then Smash has been getting constant updates, which I'm actually surprised about.
Yeah, and yeah, especially with like the events and stuff. Like I can imagine maybe Pokemon having wild area events because
That's they could do that with the mythicals. This
that would be cool. And then
events like that would be nice.
it would. Because there's like spirit board events in Smash Bros. And then you could have like mythical events. That would be cool in the wild area where you have to fight them in max raid battles or something.
Or that's actually their strategy for not having the national dex on release is they would actually add in these other Pokemon the longer the game's going.
Hmm. And we know Nintendo has been listening because with Super Mario Maker, we were all complaining that we can't play online with friends, and then they announced that at E3. Oh, we're adding online with friends at a future update for Super
Yeah.
Mario Maker.
So it would all work together considering that Nintendo's updating now.
Hmm.
That's the key thing is it's now focusing on updates for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if
Huh.
we just think about it positively, like I'm honestly okay with not having the whole national decks, but I just know a lot of people aren't.
Again, updates for later, but I guess that's really it.
Yeah, we basically went through all of what we were going to talk about. Is there anything you want to add before we start closing this off?
Nothing much. I guess that's really it. So I guess I'm done with that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing really. Just to anyone who's really mad about the national decks being gone, I would honestly give it a wait. To we still have till November till it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could do a lot in November with that time period. But yeah,
Ooh, and
that's
it'd be good marketing for Christmas time, having updates then.
that would be good marketing. Just gotta think about it in a different standpoint, at least.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's about it for today's discussion. If you guys did enjoy, please smash that like button and comment down below if you want to just add anything on Pokemon, what you guys think about the game and what we've seen so far. Thank you, Lucky, for joining today and having this discussion with me.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything, any links you want to, your like Twitter or whatever.
I don't know. People should talk in the Discord. It's a nice place. It's very dead. We would appreciate it if you did.
Yeah, if you guys want to just talk amongst yourselves on our Discord server, it can be in the description below. Lucky is one of the mods on there. So, yeah.
We have another one, but he doesn't do much.
Yeah. Well, I'm Crafty Type 1. That was Lucky. And I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye.